What's up, internet families and friends? Today we're gonna transform this saw wave into this bass. Let's jump into it.
History deleted.
And here we are in FL Studio today, and I'm gonna utilize Harmor just to generate the bass tone I want and then export it into Ableton to create the bass. If you don't have FL Studio, don't worry, all this project file will be available in Ableton as well as all the samples as a way to thank you guys for the 1K subscriber. So thank you very much for that. Alright, so let's jump into it. Yo, this is Draeden from the future. I actually wanted to show you this sound in context, so here we go. Right here. Alright, let's go back to the real timeline. Alright, so first thing first, let's initialize this preset, default. Perfect. Let's put the unison at 9. Let's put the pan all the way up, so this way the sound is going to be really large. And let's put the phase all the way up. So the phase is actually the problem in the other synths. So for example, if I play 9 voices of unison with a saw in C-ROM, it's gonna sound mostly like this, right? But watch what the phase is doing to the sound when I turn it up. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's other synths that can do that. I've tried Massive, C-ROM, and Vitals, and I really couldn't replicate that kind of tone. So, and next thing, we're gonna turn on the phaser. Cool. And then we're gonna assign the, where is it? The phaser width to the modulation X this way and that way. So right now, all right, cool. And let's click on legato. So as you can see, when I'm moving this X, I'm actually moving this width button. And we can create some movement to the bass. We can also assign the filter one, where is it? Probably frequency, to the Y mapping and create this shape. But I'm not going to play with the low pass filter right now because I'm going to do that in Ableton. So I'm just going to play with this X function right here, which is the width. And we're going to record some basses. So I've actually already done 2 right here. So let's play a C0. In this case, it's going to be a C2. Let's play a long note. And then we can open this and modulate this X control. So let's click on Create Automation Clip. And then we can play around with this modulation. Okay, let's say we like this. We can then route this to channel 1. And in the channel 1, I have a couple of effects. So as you can see, I've applied a quick EQ just to cut the low end and the high frequencies. Next, you can apply a vocodex and play around with the different settings. This is gonna turn your volume really loud. So I've just applied another EQ and turn everything down because I'm a noob in FL Studio. So let's see how it sounds like. And without the vocodex. So as you can see, you can create some different timbre with this plugin. And next, you can apply a limiter just to make sure nothing is clipping. All right. So then once you have that, you can export it. Let's export that real quick. Awesome. And now I'm going to jump back into Ableton. All right. So in this project, I've already uploaded a couple of bass. So here we can have a listen. This one has more high end. Nice. So let's export now. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is to create a sampler and drag this audio into the sampler. So let me grab this right here. Cool. So now click on the sampler, click Command or Control G. Now click this button right here and click Create Chain. We're going to create the sub for the Neuro bass. So let's grab the synth you want. I'm just going to grab Serum. We're going to put the pitch bend to 12. Perfect. And we're going to choose the basic shape, just a regular sine wave. Perfect. All right, let's call this sub. And let's call this Neuro. And we're going to grab the audio and drop it right here. So now we're going to assign this to C0. Right there. So if I play, and let's remove the filter and put the volume to 0. Perfect. Next, the MIDI, we're gonna put the pitch bend to 12. And next we're gonna go into modulation, turn that aux on, select sample offset, put that to 100, and map this peak to this macro. So let me just close something. So what we just did with this aux and this macro is that we actually assigned the macro to decide where the sample is going to start in the sampler. Let me show you real quick. So if I'm playing the note, as you can see, is going to start here, but as I'm moving, the sample is going to start at different places. All right. Also, make sure you have let me close that map. The attack at least 1 millisecond. So this way you don't have any click when the sample is going to start later in the sampler. All right. Let's put the voices also at 1. So this way you can have some glide. And make sure the glide is on. All right. Also make sure the sub has the glide as well. And let's put that to 50, just like the sampler. Awesome. Perfect. Finally, we're going to use an EQ just to cut the very low end of the Neuro bass. This way. Cool. All right, so in the next step, we're going to add some modulation to make the bass talk. And to do that, we're going to use some filters and also some more effects like saturation and some chorus. So let's jump into that. In this chain, as you can see, I split the top and the low frequencies. So in the top, I have everything above 250, and in the low, I have everything below 250. All right. So after that, I've just put an EQ cutting everything below 200 because it's not like super perfect. And after that, another EQ that cut at 100. Next, this is the interesting part. All right, so for this filter, I'm not sure how I'm gonna explain that, but basically all those macros are linked to the volume of each different chain. And each chain has a different EQ. or filter actually. All right. So like this EQ is controlled by this macro. This one, the low pass, is this one. The band pass right here is this EQ, and the last one is right here. All right, so every chain is making the sound talking in a different way, okay? All right, so let me show you that real quick. So let's make a MIDI node. Let's make 2 MIDI nodes, actually. So 1, 2, and here we're gonna go to A, and let me close this. All right, so right here we could play with that. All right, cool. So let's roll with this. Next, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna first choose the filter I want to use and create an automation for the volume. So for example, maybe the high pass would be a good idea first. So I'm gonna do a high pass right here, and then, I don't know, maybe the band pass. And then right here, I could maybe do the low pass, and maybe let's try the EQ morph. All right. So let's do the high pass right now. So let's create an automation. After that, let's create an automation for the band pass. Cool. Let's do the low pass. All right, cool. So let's roll with this. Next, I've added an overdrive. So no dynamics, a bit of drive. The tone is all the way up. This is for the brightness, actually. The drive is 100%. Some saturation. We could go maybe at 4 right here. Yeah, sounds a bit better. Some chorus. Flanger. Bit of distortion again. And some erosion on the sine. So if I crank the amount. All right, so let's put that at 8. Cool, so we have that. And now I have another chain that's gonna blend the low and the top of the bass, because remember, all those effects were only assigned to the top of this neuro bass. So this is gonna be the process to blend them together. So first, I've assigned this this utility to control the width of the bass. So you know, sometimes in Serum, nice. All right, so you know, sometimes in Serum you're gonna assign the LFO to the hyperdimension, for example, and it's gonna follow the volume of your bass. I wanted to recreate that with this utility, so this is why. Can I go back? Oh, this way, yeah. All right, so this is why I've assigned this width to this macro right here. And you can see it's kind of following the same principle as an LFO in Serum, for example. Let me just close all of that. All right, cool. So this chorus, I don't think I've used it, but you know, you can add another chorus and play with the delay. For example, if you could yeah, this way you can have both of the delays of the chorus linked, and you could also map that right here, for example, and play with this. So this is an option, but I didn't keep it in that case. After that, I've used some reverb. So as you can see, it's not a crazy reverb, but if you want to make some effects, you know, you can always crank it up and then compress it. But let's keep it at, I think it was, no, 1.4. Cool. Next, I've used multiband dynamics. This is a preset in the Ableton folder. I think I've played with that. But you know, even if you take the stock multiband dynamic, I think it's mostly to control the low end, and as you can see, the top end, I didn't want it to be too bright. Next, I've put an EQ with some crazy cuts, boost the low. Another EQ where I cut everything on the side below 200 Hertz. And I put a dip right here. But, you know, I'm not sure if it sounds really better, so could maybe reduce that a bit. Let's keep this one though. And then an autopan. So the way I set up this autopan is to make the sound stutter. So as you can see, I've mapped the amount right here. And at the end of the phrase, I'm gonna automate this. You can play with the rate right here. Just make sure the sync is on. And also the phase should be all the way down or all the way up if you want to make the sound stutter this way. So next I've used a glue compressor. So as you can see, I'm doing a lot of compression and just a bit of clipping. And finally trash, where I've used a convolve in a decent amount. I've used some filter and some clip control also, just to add a bit of grit, and it's acting kind of like a limiter. And finally, utility, just to control the gain if I want to cut the sound somewhere. So I have this one. This one is the original. Also, something I want to mention is that you don't necessarily have to use all those EQ and processing. It's just to give you an idea of the way I did it. But another cool trick I could give you is to use the zone right here. And we could import all the different basses I've done previously right here. This way. And then we're going to click on select. I click on Command A to select all, distribute range equally. And then we're going to click map and map this right here. So samples. And then sample, I'm going to call that start. Sample. All right. So this way we can control which sample we want to use for this bass. Oh, let me assign, where is it? So this should be at C0 also. C0, perfect. So this way. And then you could also jump between samples, you know? And then play with the start for this one, for example. All right, so that's it for today. I hope you've learned something. If you guys want to grab this instrument as well as the sample, you can just click the link below. There's going to be a link with the click download or something like that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.